Welcome to the Spirits, Angels, and Guides Oh My podcast,
where the supernatural gets real, baby.
Hey, Spirit Gang, welcome back to our humble little podcast. I am your host, Nancy Christine Brady.
I'm Tara Diana, your humblest co-host.
And Tara, did you ever feel like you were born different, like your sensitivity and your intuition, your connection to spirit was something that set you aside?
Is that a joke? I'm as different as they come, but did I? Yes. Yes. I felt like I never belonged. I felt like I was a people pleaser. I was forever doing stupid things to make people like me because I felt that different.
Yeah.
I struggled in elementary and high school. I felt different, but I want to make this clear. I didn't feel different because I was all like woohoo. That's not what made me feel different. I just felt different as a whole. I felt unlikable. I felt all sorts of things. And it was hard for me to make friends and stay friends.
Yeah. Yeah. So I might have an explanation for that.
Oh.
And today we're going to deep dive into indigo, crystal, rainbow, and star children.
Oh my goodness. I forgot about star children.
Yeah. And these are all the spiritual archetypes of sort of the last 50 years and how they've helped shape our paths as mediums and, I guess, psychic sensitives. So each wave of children has a different, reflects humanity's different spiritual evolution. And I think a lot of our listeners, I know myself, I did recognize myself in some of these groups. And I'm going to be very interested if you share at the end where you recognize yourself fitting.
Also, I want to see where you think I am too.
Okay, yeah. Okay, we'll do that. Okay, so indigo children traditionally were born in the 70s to 1990s. Now, even though I'm telling people about dates that are sort of, you can find anywhere on the internet, you can also still be from another group.
Absolutely,
okay, so
you can.
Yeah. So then we just want to set that sort of disclaimer out there. So the historical emergence was the 70s. The term was first coined by Nancy Ann Tapp. And she was a psychic who claimed to see auras, and she observed that many children born in the late 1960s and 70s had predominantly indigo colored auras.
Oh.
What color is your aura? Do you I'm curious for your answer. What color is your aura?
My aura is purple. I would pay money to say pink. But it's.
I think an aura changes.
Yeah.
So I feel like mine changes, but I do feel like when you're doing your work, I totally see purple all around you, which is very normal.
Yeah.
That's very much you see around a lot of mediums and psychics. So in the 1990s, the concept spread through the entire New Age movement via Lee Carroll and Jan Tober's book, The Indigo Children. Did you ever read that book, Tara?
Nope. Is Lee Carroll the one that channels Cryon, though? Is that the same Lee Carroll? I'm going to look that up while you're talking. But no,
okay,
okay, so Tara's also going to say something else. People ask me all the time, Tara, what books should I read? What books should I read? I've read almost nil except for Ted Andrews' Spirit Animals.
Yeah.
I just can't get into that stuff. Everything that I've learned has been through in-person practice with other local people. I've never gone to anyone outside of, I've been to Stansted. That's the biggest thing. So
yeah,
I haven't read a lot of books, Nan. I mean, I've read a lot of books on like witches and vampires and things, but and the romance between a werewolf and a fae, but not so much about the psychic stuff. It's I don't know. I just can't get into it.
That's okay. That's okay.
Thank you.
So the cultural context behind indigo children is basically they're seen as system busters. They are always challenging rigid systems and institutions like schools, religion, government. Their entire role and mission is to break down old paradigms and expose dishonesty and corruption. And they embody truth-seeking rebellion and visionary thinking. and they serve kind of as the first wave of spiritually aware children who paved the way for others. Does this sound or resonate at all?
Well, it does. It does. I've always thought I was an indigo person. Like,
Okay.
always thought I was, straight up. I mean, I know what they are, but I've always thought I was an indigo person. But I want to hear the rest of your definitions of them, because they're slightly different than mine. So,
Okay, very cool. So the traits are intuitive, psychic, rebellious, against authority, a strong sense of mission or destiny, prone to frustration with dishonesty or bureaucracy. I said that wrong. Often empathetic, but can mask sensitivity with anger or defiance. Are highly creative, visionary, and imaginative. So, how does this appeal or apply to mediumship? Well, the strengths are natural clairsentience, claircognizance, like a feeling or knowing. They expand mediumship into empowerment and healing models. Strong purpose-driven approach. They see spirit communication as a service, not a performance. The challenges are they may resist traditional training, a risk of burnout due to emotional overload, or a tendency towards cynicism if their gifts aren't validated.
oh, okay.
Is this resonating at all?
I'm going to tell you guys this. If you are following me and you're on Facebook, Nan, you're going to pee your pants. You need to go and see the post I did on August. Oh, I'm hoping it's still going to be there. On August 28th. No. August 30th or 31st in Empowering Intuitive Souls. It is the private Facebook group. Hopefully it's still there. I'm going to try to go and snag it and put it into IG. I asked everyone what inspired the group. What have you healed from? I literally wrote that in there. I'm going to snag that and put it in IG. I'm making a note right now. Oh my God, Nan.
you do that, and I'll keep going because we're going to move on to Crystal Children. Okay. So Crystal Children were in the 1990s to 2000s wave. The historical emergence was following, obviously, the Indigo wave. Psychic spiritual teachers began reporting a new generation of children with a gentler, more luminous type of energy. Of course, don't wince when I say this, Tara, but Doreen Virtue helped popularize this concept in books and workshops, presenting Crystal Children as the next stage of this human evolution. So they were often born to indigo parents, especially in the 1990s, and they emerged during a period of relative global peace and a rising focus on wellness, environmentalism, spirituality. They frequently were diagnosed with autism or other neurodivergence seen by spiritual communities, such as like a sign of telepathic, nonverbal communication abilities other than pathology. And their mission and role was to bring peace, harmony, and unconditional love to the earth, to embody compassion and gentle healing, and to introduce humanity to a telepathic, energetic style of communication. Does this resonate with you, Tara? Is anyone
not for me, but I find that super interesting. What year was your son born? Or what, 90s?
1998.
Would you say that this encompassed him?
Yeah, I mean, aside from the neurodivergence, like he's very, a lot of this, like the traits, like the gentle, empathetic, strong energy, sensitivity, like he has a lot of those traits. How about
kids
Alana?
were born in 2000s. So the reason I was just curious about that because I knew your son was older than mine. But I find that really interesting about the autism because I have found that the kids, basically starting when Alana and Ryan were born, like the early 2000s, they tended to me right up until now to be that autism neurodivergence seems to be popping like so much, but that might just be because we are more open to understanding it and working with it than we were back then. So I think so. Interested in that. Okay, keep going. But me, nah. Okay. I mean, I'm very empathetic and everything, but I am way more spicy. then
But I'm sure you can pin people who would fit in this
oh,
for sure.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So the traits, and they're not all neurodivergent. Like this is just
No.
sort of this sort of a painting of it. So the traits are gentle, empathetic, non-confrontational, strong telepathic and energetic sensitivity, radiate calm and healing presence, often healers by nature. That's very much my son. He's also a Leo though. Communicate deeply without words as far as like telepathy or energy transmission, highly connected to animals, plants, and nature spirits. And how does this apply to mediumship? Well, the strengths, they excel at clairaudience and telepathic mediumship, hearing and or receiving thought forms. They have a deep empathy to allow clear connection with spirit emotions. Again, natural healers. So the mediumship soothes grief with compassion. Some of the challenges are they're vulnerable to energetic overload, especially in grief heavy sessions. They may withdraw if environments are harsh or unsupportive, and they need strong grounding and boundaries. And I can see a lot of that within my son, but I can also kind of pinpoint a few other people in my life that fit in that perfectly.
Well, the more you talked about that, the more it sounded like Ryan. Ryan
Yeah.
was a very, very didn't want to be in the eye of anyone. He was the
Yeah.
giver. He would take the shirt off his back and give it to you. He would give money to the homeless person and go without at this Whitecaps gate. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
very kind. He was very gentle. No one has a bad thing to say about Ryan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but he also, I'm positive he was never diagnosed with this, but I would say this with my full chest that he had an auto processing issue. He preferred quiet at school and stuff, but he also preferred noise to keep himself kind of busy. But he was the
Right.
gentlest, kindest person, like no lie detector. He could hold his own. I mean, he would defend you
Yeah.
for he would defend you for sure. He could fight, and he was a little feisty sometimes, but he most of the time he was very gentle, very loving. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, well, let's see if he falls into Rainbow Children. And then you can choose between the two. So, Rainbow Children, 2000s to 2010, they're described as the next wave after the crystals. The idea began circulating again in New Age writings and workshops as people noticed children who seemed even more fearless and higher vibration. So, unlike indigos, which are rebellious, crystals, gentle, rainbows radiate pure joy and are said to carry no karmic debt. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. But it makes sense, though. That's how I see the Rainbow Children anyway.
Yeah. And they're often reported as children born to crystal parents. So you can see, like, I don't know, that seems kind of close, but you can
That
see
seems
how
very close.
Yeah. But I feel like it's like a transitional
Yeah, I get what they're
easy
saying.
flow. Associated with the rise of global connectivity, social media, and movements for inclusivity, diversity, and joy-filled expression. And sometimes connected to the rainbow prophecy from native traditions, which speaks of rainbow warriors who would come and heal the earth. So the mission and role that they have is they bring joy, creativity, unconditional love without fear. Their model fearless authenticity and play as spiritual practice. They anchor higher frequencies of light to uplift humanity. See, a lot of that sounds like Ryan.
Yeah, it does. It's sorry, carry on.
The traits are high vibration souls, fearless, full of joy, extremely connected to spiritual realms from birth, and they're highly creative and imaginative. They thrive on play and expression. They often have strong healing mediumship abilities at very young age, and they radiate optimism and transformative light energy. So how does that apply to mediumship? Well, they have innate clairvoyance and clairaudience. They bring joy and levity into spiritual connection. The readings feel uplifting. Mediumship is expressed through art, music, or storytelling. The challenges are that they can struggle with lower vibration environments with grief and trauma, and they risk being misunderstood or dismissed as too childlike. And they need channels of creative expression to thrive. So, what do you think about that one before we go to Star Children?
I don't know. Like if I think about, I think like Ryan's a mix of crystal and rainbow. I feel like Alana is a mix of rainbow and indigo.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we have to be open to perception, right? Like I can
Yeah.
see all of them. I mean, I still feel like I am. I mean, I have some traits of crystal,
Yeah.
but I still feel I'm full on indigo. Like,
Yeah. Me too.
yeah.
Me too.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I would say Ryan was more crystal than rainbow, and but I would say Alana literally was more indigo because she's like a warrior, right? She
Yeah.
likes things her way, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of that in there. So I'm definitely seeing how the kids and how the kids. So Alana and Ryan were born in 2021 and 2023. No, they weren't.
What?
No, they
No,
weren't.
they weren't.
They were not.
Wow. You went backwards there.
2001 and 2003. And there is a lot of also very strange, as caring and as lovely as everything is with that energy. There is also a lot of entitlement, a lot of like it's my way or the highway, um kind of energy, and this has been talked about quite a bit in the last little while, and that would have started back in the 1990s when
Yeah.
people were born in
Yeah.
the 1990s, right? That's where that energy started to happen. So
Very
anyway,
much
there's
so.
so much to this. Oh my God, tell me about the Star Children.
Okay. So the Star Children umbrella ongoing waves, they basically, the idea of star people or star seeds predates indigo crystal language appearing in spiritual and UFO literature from the 50s. Okay. The term star children became woven into the indigo crystal rainbow framework in the 1990s to 2000s, describing souls who incarnated from other star systems to help Earth. So, the cultural context behind this is that it grew out of a rising fascination with extraterrestrials, channeling, galactic spirituality, which was really gaining momentum in the 80s and 90s, and deeply linked to the New Age idea that humanity is being guided by interdimensional beings like the Pleiadians, the Syrians, the Arcturians, etc.
You're
What do you,
reptilians. You forgot the reptilians.
oh, those are the bad
Uh,
guys.
uh, but they still might be guiding us. I definitely think they're guiding the president of the United States right now. Just say
Yeah, pretty cool though, right?
interesting.
So the mission and role, okay, they act as bridges between the earth and higher dimensions. They bring cosmic wisdom, advanced spiritual technological knowledge. They awaken humanity to its galactic connections and evolutionary destiny. This to me, it's very interesting because when I was doing the research for this, we talked in other podcasts about Fae
Mm-hmm.
that have all these same
Yep.
properties, but it's earth and
But
grounded,
Earth
whereas
based. Yeah.
star seeds are up and solar, right?
Yep.
Um, or galactic. And so the traits, they carry strong memories of lifetimes in other star systems. They have a deep sense of being different or not from the earth. They're highly psychic with strong clairvoyance and prophetic dreams. Often fascinated with technology, science, metaphysical systems, a strong mission based identities like shifting human consciousness. And how does this apply to mediumship? Well, the strengths are channel not only deceased loved ones, but also star beings, guides, and galactic councils. Their clairvoyance and dream mediumship. So they have very prophetic visions, ancestral travel, and communication. The big picture view is mediumship as part of humanity's evolution. And the challenges that they have are that they might feel isolated or misunderstood, like they just don't belong here. Grounding is essential, and they can drift into cosmic without anchoring messages in the human. And they have a risk of escapism if they're feeling overwhelmed by sort of the earth and earth's density.
Okay.
So,
Where would they go?
so
Are you saying to me they get beam me up, Scotty?
well, I think it's kind of like we've talked about in previous podcasts where, when we're teaching people, you have to be grounded because if you go up then and you're not grounded, you're going to
Yeah.
just float around in that sort of
Etheric.
ether,
Yeah.
right? Very etheric. So that was kind of cool, I have a little thing that I can put a chart into our spirit lounge
Yep.
that breaks down the best mediumship strengths, the key practices, and the watch out. But this is something really interesting to me because I don't feel it's just generational. I feel that there's certain templates of spiritual gifts in each wave that can be brought to certain mediumship styles. And like your audience, I feel that they're going to resonate with what your soul signature is, if that makes sense, that they're going to tap into exactly what they need to do to move, I guess, everything forward, whether it be a movement, a global movement, an environmental movement, a intergalactic connection, all of those things.
I
So
really feel like I'm one, but when I'm thinking of other people, I feel like they're a mix of so many. So I don't know. What you're indigo.
definitely, definitely,
Paula Gill feels
definitely,
to me, I'm calling you out, Paula Gill, like a starseed.
and there's times where I do feel star.
That you
Like
feel star?
I'm so fascinated with the Palladians. I'm fascinated with all that. I have so many books on it. I read about it all the time. Um, I definitely have the temper of an indigo.
I'm all indigo. I'm Scorpio indigo.
Now I have a cool exercise I'm going to put in our Instagram,
Okay.
so that people can sort of tap in and choose what resonates most with them. But yeah, like what are your general thoughts around breaking it in or breaking it down like that?
It's kind of like what I talk about, and word to the wise. It feels to me sort of like, when I talk about when I teach oracle cards and why we don't read the freaking book, why the book actually doesn't matter, even though I have a deck coming out that's going to have its own book because you have no choice. But literally, the book is nothing. The book is someone else's interpretation of what spirit
Yes.
gave them for the card. As a good reader, as someone, and babies, if you want to learn oracle cards, I'll teach you oracle cards. As someone to come in and read the card, spirit has to give you the message through the card. The card is just the card. It gives you a landing point, if you will, a foundation for the message. So,
Yeah.
but it's someone else. If you're reading the book, if you grab the book, I don't even have a book to grab, but if you to grab the book and look at it and you're like, okay, this is what this card means, you actually are just reading someone else's message. You're not doing jack shit, period.
Yeah.
And so I feel like these descriptions are just descriptions. They're just descriptions, and they have a lot of um, valid points to them, valid descriptions of certain people in certain eras, I guess. But I feel like you could be any one of them at any time. These are just, I would have liked it better if they hadn't said dates.
Yeah. Well, and I think though that that's because of all the authors that are out there. They tried to compartmentalize it into dates. And so that was the one thing I found really interesting as well, because a lot of the people I've met have traits
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
in all of those.
Yes.
And so, I would hate to paint any one person into a box and
You can
say,
paint me into
oh,
indigo, though.
yeah, okay, we'll paint Tara into indigo. But I do feel like I've met a lot of people in my readings that have all sorts of cool traits right across the board.
That's what I'm saying to you, right? And
Yeah.
just to add, I did look up the Lee Carroll that wrote that book. Is the Lee Carroll that channels Cryon?
Okay. And so maybe we need to do an episode on Cryon.
I actually went into a Lee Carroll, I don't know what you call it, meeting with Cryon.
Really?
Yeah, when Claudette Godin was still with us, she was a very, very popular local medium that, yeah, she was very popular. And Lynn White and I went, yeah, it was interesting, let me
That's
tell you.
cool. Very cool. Well, that's all I have for our listeners for this week. And yeah, we'll go to the Instagram. We'll put some stuff in there. And if you're in the Spirit Lounge, I got another special, exciting other exercise for you guys. Otherwise, check us out on all our platforms. You can find me at Nancy Christine Brady on all the platforms, and Tara.
And all my Spirit Essence by Tara Diana. But I think we need to pull a card for somebody, baby.
We are going to be pulling a card for Jenny.
Jenny Kitson? Am I supposed to say their last name? So sorry, Jenny.
I don't think so. We'll edit that out.
Okay.
Just in case.
Okay.
For privacy. Yeah, I don't know. It's just typed Jenny in our Excel sheet.
So it's got to be her, baby. So
it's got to be.
This is the card. Her special place. Find your own safe space inside and out. Now, I know Jenny's one of my closest friends, and so this card just resonates. I don't even have to go into it, Jenny. You know I don't. You know this is where you thrive. You know that this part of you, this part that you keep so close, is the most important part of you. And we should all be thanking our lucky stars when you let us into that space. They're saying to you here to acknowledge that space is valid and it's important for you. That's what I got.
I love that. I got South Chatonese, which is very interesting. So it's got a wolf and it's got a cougar and then it's got a peace pipe. And it's about lessons, growth, and trust. And I feel like both of these animals sit within that independent, lone perspective. But one of the things that you need to focus on is the fact that, yeah, you can be an independent wolf, but there's a beautiful pack behind you. And so I really want you to lean into that energy because it's all about the growth. It's about trusting in your skill set, trusting in your perfectness, and just knowing that everybody should be honored to have a piece of you or have a reading from you because you are an incredible person. So take that cougar independent energy, but then bring in the wolf pack and lean into that growth, baby.
It sounded like you said everyone should be honored to have a piece of your hair. I was like, oh, sweet.
No, that's not what I said.
Okay, friends. Thank you so much for following us. If you love what we're doing, the best way you can support us is by going to all the social media platforms, the Spotify's, the Apple Podcast, Podbean, whatever you follow us on. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a review. That helps us reach more people.
Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you or hear you on the next podcast.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the wonderfully weird and metaphysical.
If you loved what you heard, don't forget to follow us for more insights and behind-the-scenes fun.